Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. You may not know this, but I've never really managed a game in the major leagues. And I think Terry Francona will be a Hall of Fame manager when it's all said and done. But that doesn't mean he is beyond criticism. On Saturday, when he had a 4-run lead going into the ninth inning of Game 1 of a doubleheader against Atlanta, he brought in his closer, Brad Hand. And as he has stated in the past, Major League Baseball games are hard to win, and he didn't want to get this one, let it get away. Well, the game did get away, and so did the nightcap when the bullpen walked 5 in the ninth inning, and he couldn't go to Brad Hand. To make matters worse, Atlanta's bullpen struck out the side in the bottom of the ninth inning, with 2 of them called out on check swings. That ninth inning looked like the Indians quit on their manager. Right now, the Indians don't look like they're an automatic win in the Central Division, and they can't afford their manager to think about winning one winnable game, while instead losing 2 of them. Anthony Lima is here. More sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Monday night. It's a brand new week. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 23rd consecutive season, and as always, seen exclusively on cleveland.com. To my right, ladies and gentlemen, the man whose life I would like to have if I could do it all over again, Anthony Lima, who has been a world traveler over the last week. You want to give us some highlights?
I got to get out when I can, right? I got to get a chance to be out there and experience some other things.
Why don't you go when the weather's lousy here?
I know. Well, I know. Listen, it figures. Both times I left over the last few weeks, it was like 70 degrees on the day I was flying out.
Right.
And I know everybody's rooting against their friends when they're on vacation.
No, they're not.
You want them to experience the absolute worst. Oh, it rained the entire trip? Sucks to be you, to quote the great Ken Carpenter.
So what does an Anthony Lima do on a trip like this? Just highlights without naming names. Where did you go?
Went to an island called Nevis. I had never heard of it, near St. Kitts. I was in Puerto Rico before that, and then this past weekend, a bachelor party in Miami. But now I'm stuck here. You're stuck with me.
All right, let me just tell you one observation.
Yeah.
They're paying you way too much.
That's what my friend said, too.
How are things going on 92.3 The Fan with Ken Carman, along with Anthony Lima?
We're good. I'm still waiting for them to let us wake up like an hour later, but so far so good.
You get the Howard Stern deal?
I would love that, and then you don't have to work Fridays. Here's the thing that has kind of been different for us, more challenging.
Wait. People work on Fridays?
I forget. Yeah, don't think I haven't been logging on to see what Les has not been up to on Fridays. No, here's the thing about it. We have been devoid of all the draft coverage. The draft content's been like non-existent for us. And
somebody said the draft's Thursday. I said, that's not possible.
Right.
We don't need a quarterback right now.
Right. There's been no lead up. We were asking people, like, what are your plans? What are you doing? It's been, obviously, the draft season synonymous with, like, big events for people here in Northeast Ohio.
Who would know that the schedule release would be bigger than the draft?
It was way bigger.
Yeah.
And I even thought that was kind of laughable because we knew the schedule. We just didn't know the particular set of dates that the schedule would actually appear on.
Don't you feel differently about that, about the schedule now that you know where they'll sit or where the games are played or not?
Honestly,
I think to know that the back end of the schedule, the last quarter, if they can hang in there by then, they got a good shot.
I'd feel better if you told me when they were going to schedule the injuries. If I knew when the injuries were scheduled, then I'd be able to tell you, because you just don't know. I mean, when the Browns play Jared Goff, or when the Browns play, if you go through and look at quarterback injuries in the NFL, they're everything. And who would have thought last year when the Browns played Carolina Panthers that the Panthers would be on this dovetailing, backwards.
Right.
Also, Matt Ryan and the Falcons were in the midst of a slide. So you never know how these things are going to work out. Had you have played the Cincinnati Bengals earlier in the year, they were one of the hot teams in football to start out the season.
Good point. 216-575-0403. You can email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. Anthony Lima is with us. Mike Macedo will join us a little bit later. Were you aware of what was going on with the Cleveland Indians, other than what Terry Francona blew 2 games?
I obviously came back and saw the situation, saw the reactions. I was not as irate as Les was. I think part of it is it's tough for me given, and I know there's going to be a time where I'm not going to be able to use this division as an excuse.
Right.
But we're in April baseball, and the last thing I want this team to do is to overuse their pitching staff, which is at such a premium. And, I see Trevor Bauer's basically pitching 120 pitches a game. It seems
and pitching great,
and he can do it. He's the guy that can do it. Yeah. But I've seen Terry overuse that bullpen in years past. And so I'm not going to lose my mind that he had Brad Hand in the one game. He wanted to secure the victory and wasn't available in the second game.
What does it tell you when you don't think the other guys can hold a 4-run lead going into the 9th inning?
It's kind of what I expected coming into the season.
Yeah.
Honestly. And I said that, to me, there was no way the bullpen could be worse than last year. And people would say, oh, how could that be? They had Cody Allen and Andrew Miller. Did you see how those guys pitched last year? They both could not be relied upon at any point the entire season. So we'll see. I think there's some potential there for guys, but it is still April. I mean, what was the weather like on Saturday?
Well, Friday it got rained out.
Yeah.
Saturday was not good.
Yeah.
Sunday was nice.
And the last thing you want is those guys in that weather this early in the year to have to be out there throwing too many pitches. And I know if you go to the World Series, that's the weather. Yeah. But I'd rather worry about that later than have guys pitch way too much this time of the year.
Let's look at what happened in the recap of the weekend. The good news is Francisco Lindor joined the Indians and did all right. Looked like he didn't miss a beat. And in the first 2 games, he had 2 hits in 9 at-bats, a home run, an RBI, and 2 runs scored. That's not too bad.
I disagree with you a little bit.
Yeah.
And this should be expected. I knew his swing would be fine. You could tell that speed is not there. And
speed of the bat or of the running?
No, actually running. Yeah. And then even playing the field. They had the shift on at one point yesterday during that game on national television against the Braves. And, it's a play that he makes 98 out of 100 times. And I think he probably came back a little early.
Yeah, he didn't have a spring training. Yeah. I think in the game you're talking about, if he ran slow, they probably said, don't even worry about, I'm not saying don't hustle.
Right.
But don't go that extra stride because who knows what that.
Like you could tell just how bad they want him in the lineup. That they would say, hey, let's get him back here. That third week of April, we need him.
All right, I was surprised Hanley Ramirez was designated for assignment. He had 9 hits and 49 at bats, a 184 average, a couple of homers, 8 RBIs, and 17 strikeouts. So that, he hadn't played in a year and 2 months, and now he's back.
What would Brad Miller say about that?
You don't have the best players.
Right.
You got that all the way down in St. Kitts.
Oh, yeah, we were loving that story.
Yeah. I don't get that. He's a veteran. He had to know when Kipnis came back that he was gone.
Can I tell you what I think it's indicative of?
Sure.
I think some of those guys in that locker room, I do not think you have the great locker room that you've had in years past. And I think Tito has got his work cut out for him over the course of the year to be able to keep these guys not second-guessing everything the organization does. I mean, think about it. You got Frankie, who everybody's just assuming is going to be gone. Trevor Bauer, everyone's assuming he's going to be gone at some point. You've got the San Diego Padres scouts at every game waiting to see the health of Corey Kluber. I think there's a lot up in the air right now with a lot of players, not to mention Jason Kipnis has been the subject of trade rumors 2 straight years.
He's actually hitting the ball right now.
Yeah, and he is, yeah.
And when he gets that line drive to left field, that only opens things up. All right, so the Braves and Indians, let's take a look at the series recap over the weekend. Braves outscored the Indians 23-20, 279 batting average, Indians at 290, 5 home runs to 3 for the Indians, and runs in scoring position, 13 for 34 for the Braves, 12 of 36 for the Indians, and left on base, the Indians left 8 more than did the Atlanta Braves. Josh Donaldson, why couldn't he have done this in the last 2 weeks of the season for the Indians? That second one was unbelievable, how hard he hit it. 11 at-bats, 5 hits, 2 homers, 4 RBIs and 4 runs scored.
Yeah, second one, I did not think he was going to be able to catch up to it. It was up in the zone from Bieber, who had already given up one. He missed his location both times. It was unfortunate because, who's been better in the first part of the year than Shane Bieber? And then he comes out yesterday, and he just didn't have it. It is the one thing about baseball that is just so different. Baker Mayfield, there were some games you thought maybe he didn't have it. And in those games, he was still able in the second half to come out of it. You've seen basketball players, to see like LeBron James just not have it the entire game. In baseball, you never know. Even the best can just totally not have it.
James Harden the other night? He goes 0 for a million, and he's still cranking it up.
Yep, still getting shots up, and then they still were able to win.
Did you happen to see that game? Were you back by then? When he had, I don't know, it wasn't Doris Burke, it was somebody else. Did he not know that he went 0 for
He claimed
whatever?
he did not know he was 0 for 15 to start the game. I believe something tells me James Harden.
I had guys in high school who knew their batting average by the time they got to first base. He knew.
These guys their head is on a swivel. They don't hurt their necks. I'm surprised sometimes when they're looking at the humongo trying to figure out what their stat line is in these games.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Anthony Lima, 92.3 The Fan, on from 6 until 10 in the morning, along with Ken Carmen. Mike Masetta standing by at Nature's Stone. We're going to find out what he's thinking. We'll find out what you're thinking also. More sports and less Levine continues in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Today is the 22nd of April. Terry Francona celebrating a birthday today. He was born in 1959. Mickey Vernon, who beat out Al Rosen by a half a point in the batting average in 1953. Otherwise, Al Rosen would have been a Triple Crown winner. And Spencer Haywood, first guy to not go to college and play in the NBA. And Marshawn Lynch, as well as Dee Gordon, all celebrating birthdays on the 22nd of April. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Seems like we haven't talked to Mike Masetta in 100 years. Mike, are you there?
I'm here, Les. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. Say hi to Anthony Lima.
Anthony, how are you?
Hey, great. I just heard our mutual friend Dustin Fox talking about you on the radio.
Love Dustin Fox, man. He does a great job. Great job.
Hey, it's Nature's Stone. No, wow, it's Nature's Stone.
Wow.
All right, you got the draft coming up. Nobody knew that coming up on Thursday. We had to be reminded of it. Indians get the night off. They'll take on Miami on Tuesday, and then an afternoon game on Wednesday. This interleague play, I'm tired of it. If you walk in, I've been tired of it from the beginning. If you walk into Progressive Field on Wednesday afternoon and you ask everybody there to name 3 people on the Miami Marlins, you won't get any. You'll get 1,000 people who can do that, and yet the baseball says fans are screaming for interleague play. Mike?
You've never liked interleague play, Les. We've talked for a few years about it. I'm not as against it as you are. I think that I as a baseball fan, having the Atlanta Braves come here and getting a chance to see them, it cool. And they were here back in '95 for the World Series, and you only get to see them a couple times in like a 10-year period. So I thought that was kind of neat. I don't hate it as much as you do.
All right,
If they didn't do interleague play, I wouldn't be against that. It's just I'm not completely. I don't hate it as much as
all right,
I guess you do.
Anthony Lima, name 3 guys on the Miami Marlins.
Well, no, they're on different teams now. That's the problem. That was the fire sale. That one, but here it wasn't baseball caught between a rock and a hard place because fans were telling them repeatedly, "We don't know the stars." The casual fan doesn't know the stars. So here, like a team with Atlanta, they had some young guys that obviously fans have heard of before, or at least thought of, and you have a chance to get exposure to them. I think baseball is in such need. I know Les is going to hate this. Back in the day, we all collected the cards, or the fantasy teams. You knew all the players. Casual fans don't know those players, so I always thought interleague play could help remedy that, but for whatever reason, that really hasn't been the case either.
Well, what it does is that it allows you to not see Boston more than once a year or the Yankees once a year. But
that I agree with. There's teams that I would like to see more often. One thing I would like to see with interleague play is to switch to DH. When they come to the American League Stadium, get rid of the DH, and when they go to the National League Stadium, give them the DH, because that's truly what fans don't see.
Well,
here in Cleveland, all of our games have a DH.
Yeah,
so when Atlanta comes here, get rid of it. Let them play without one for 2 games.
I can't wait to see the double switch.
Well, at some point in time, they're probably going to go to both. Both leagues are going to have a DH, but that's not what it is right now.
Anthony, I don't know if you know this. If you're going to intentionally pass a guy, they go like this, 4 fingers up. With certain Indians batters, they just go like this, 3, and they tell them to go sit down.
Come on, they scored some runs over the weekend. It's not the offense's fault that the bullpen totally blew it.
All right, you guys are. All right, you beat me up enough tonight. Okay. Mike, what are you thinking about? Thursday night? Right now, the Browns don't have a draft choice in the first round. Do you think by this time Thursday they will, or at least a couple hours later on Thursday?
Well, the first thing that I think is this is the first time in I don't know how long that I didn't even know the draft was coming up on Thursday because there's no talk about it at all.
No,
so
the schedule game is more important.
Yeah, that's a good thing. But I think that one thing that you got to look at is you got to look at the cost of the players, and when you're drafting up higher in the earlier part of the round, you have to pay them more money, and then at the same time you've got to fill these roster spots with players that are supposed to be playing right away. Well, the Browns are in a position where they don't really have a lot of spots available for players to play right away. So what they're doing is they're trying to build depth. So I really don't see them trading up too much higher into the first round. If they do, it probably would be, somewhere past the 20th pick.
Okay, would you guys go after the Simmons who can't play this year? I thought the marching orders was to go win and be in contention this year.
The only thing I would say is, look, if it's about just having to trade maybe a second and a third to get to the later stages of the first round, which of course is no guarantee, you don't know who's going to slip there. I would be a little hesitant on any kind of a trade in the first round. I know that's counter to what Dorsey has done, but here's my rationale behind this. A couple of reasons. Imagine you're the San Francisco 49ers last year when they were talking about going all in with Jimmy Garoppolo. Imagine had they have traded that first round pick. He gets injured. They end up with the second pick in the draft. Can you imagine what a crossroads that organization would be in not having that pick? Second of all, to me, what do the Browns do if they don't have a first-round pick next year and this team shows they have some massive holes? I think you don't have to do it all this year, but I'd be aggressive over the next few years, but I don't think you have to do it all this year.
Mike, what do you think?
Oh, I agree with Anthony. That was he said kind of what I was alluding towards as well. Is that they to trade up back into the first round, you're going to be trading up for your future, and you're going to be getting rid of picks in the future in order to get somebody this year. Well, they're in a position where they don't need to do that right now, and if they do, you could be hamstring in the future because they don't have those picks later
All right.
So I just don't see the purpose of it. But I do think that they'll add a lot of depth in the draft. I think that they'll keep their picks where they're at. They'll add a lot of players in backup roles or competitive roles for the starters to be able to give them some competition for a starting spot. They're going to upgrade linebacker. That's about it.
Yeah, here's the guy I want. First of all, I always subscribe to the best Buckeye available. That's number one. Number two, as long as they don't have a need to fill, because normally you guys have to, a guy you pick in the draft has to start, right? First two rounds anyway. I think Paris Campbell is a game breaker, and especially with all the wide receivers that they have out there with Beckham and Landry and everybody else. I think Paris Campbell will run crazy if he got the ball.
And now that, by the way, Draymond Jones, a St. Ignatius product, who obviously a local kid, could be a second rounder, and the coaches already have worked him out and was a part of that pro day very heavily. So he's someone who I wouldn't rule out at all.
Yeah. Oh my goodness! In 2 years in a row, they may have a Buckeye. That's unbelievable. Okay. What else, Mike?
Well, David Njoku, I love him as a talent, but he had a pretty good season last year, not a great season. They're going to need a tight end to be able to stretch the middle with what they have at receiver now. And so if he is that guy, then he could be really, really good. But if they don't think that he is, I wouldn't doubt that they went after a game breaker tight end type of player, because they didn't pick up I don't know his name, but they picked up the guy to be the blocking tight end, the bigger type tight end, and also a red zone type tight end because he's a larger target. But Njoku's the starter. Njoku's the guy that's supposed to be stretching the middle of the field and help you out in possession. And he hasn't really shown that he can do that consistently yet. And they're going to need that. That's an important spot on this team with the type of offense that they're running.
Did you guys happen to hear Bull and Fox today, Jonathan Peterlin? Anybody? You guys hear it? They had the backup quarterback who just came from the fledgling league that folded. This guy, Gilbert is his last name.
Yeah.
This guy's father played in 5 consecutive Super Bowls. With the first 4 with the Buffalo Bills when they lost all 4, and then San Diego Chargers. And then this kid goes as a whatever kind of quarterback, 83rd string with the New England Patriots, and he gets himself a Super Bowl ring. And the father comes up empty in 5 attempts.
You want it to rub off, is what you're saying.
All right, Mike, wrap it up. What do you got?
Well, it was nice to see Lindor back into the Indians lineup. 1 through 6 or 7 now, they actually look like a professional lineup when he's in there. So hopefully they start hitting the ball a little bit better. They did score some runs this weekend. Bullpen let them down. I don't think that that's going to be the norm with them. They've got a really good pitching staff, and if their pitching staff does well and they can score runs like they did this weekend, they should win a lot of games. They held their own in April, so far, even without the batting, even without the run scored. So.
All right, Mike Macetta from Wow It's Nature Stone. Are you changing the name of the company to Wow It's Nature Stone?
Yeah, wow, it's Nature Stone. We'll just go with that.
I can picture you getting up in the morning and going, stretching a little bit and saying, wow, it's Nature Stone.
Well, every day I get to go to work and I get to go to a place and I get to say, wow, I work here.
There you go. All right, Mike.
It's awesome, man. It's awesome.
As always, thanks for joining us. You'll be with us on Monday nights, right?
That's right. Monday nights from now on.
Very good. We'll talk to you next Monday night, 216-575-0403. When we come back, Anthony, we're going to take a look at some names who have been drafted from around in the second round, around where the Browns will have their pick. We'll do that. Nate at Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. You can catch the excitement of live harness racing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Post time 6 p.m. Open early every day for simulcast action from all around the world. It's free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Anthony and Lima return in a moment. Our thanks to Mike Macetta. We're seen exclusively on cleveland.com. More sports and Les Levine continues in a moment.
When my dad started Nature Stone right here in Northeast Ohio, he created a solution for age-old concrete problems. Unevenness, cracking, pitting, and more. Nature Stone solves all of these problems in garages, basements, and outdoor spaces. Nature Stone is beautiful, environmentally friendly, and always affordable. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of April and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Time for a How Come Quickie, Anthony. How come the bad hop is always the last one?
That kind of happened with Frankie yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, if there's 5 hops, it's always the 4th hop or 5th hop.
I'm always amazed, the really good first baseman, and first basemen don't get a lot of credit defensively ever,
Right.
but that magic scoop that they can do, it seems like that is just, and as a left-hander who was forced to play a lot of first base
Right.
In my day, although it seems like they don't care about that as much as they used to, there was just a knack. He kind of had a knack of just swooping up and being able to catch that at the perfect time.
And in softball, it's always a big fat guy playing first base, but he can scoop.
Always. They've got that scoop down.
Here's the other thing. You hear a major league ball player say, well, it took a bad hop. I played a lot of sandlot ball. Rocks on the field, holes, gaping holes. No, how could there be a bad hop on a major league field?
But you didn't have the pristine field with the agronomist working closely to try to make sure
When I was playing,
the grounds crew?
We didn't have an agronomist. We didn't.
I think you were the grounds crew.
I was, yeah. If you want to play second base, you go take this rake and do something with it. All right, can the Browns have success in the second round if they don't go up?
Oh, of course they can. You know, I have seen some of the people that I respect, guys like Daniel Jeremiah, Albert Breer, and the like say that they don't think, this is kind of funny, this happens every single year. They don't think there's a ton of first-round talent in the first round, but I can tell you, and I joked with Ken about this today, whoever the Browns get in the second round, John Dorsey will be saying, we thought he was a first-round talent. Because you do that. Any player who was ever injured, well, they only slipped to the second round because they were injured.
Right.
Or they had, general concerns, off the field that made them slip down to the second. So it turns out there's actually about 180 guys that could have been selected in the first round,
Right.
if you believe these GMs every year.
Well, they won't pick one and say, we didn't think he was first-round talent.
Right. No, we thought he was exactly where we took him.
He was
second round.
127, that was it. All right, so let's take a look at some notable picks at number 49 over the years. Drew Brees is number 49 in 2001. Vincent Jackson, Eric Weddle, see some guys not so good. Jordy Nelson, pretty good. LaShawn McCoy, and this guy named Gronk, Rob Gronkowski.
Well, a lot of times, even though Gronk turned out to be a total specimen, a lot of guys, they don't fit the size profile
Right.
of what guys that would go in the first round would often have.
All right, here you have notable second-round picks since 2000. 2010, the 54th pick was Carlos Dunlap of the Bengals. Le'Veon Bell of the Steelers was picked by the Steelers. Joel Bitonio, 2014, 35th pick by your Cleveland Browns. And Jarvis Landry picked by the Dolphins in 2014, the 63rd pick of the draft. Michael Thomas from Ohio State, 2016, and Juju Smith-Schuster, I love that name, of the Steelers, was 62nd pick.
I wanted Michael Thomas so bad that year. Yes, I'm a Buckeye homer.
Yeah.
But I thought there's just no way that guy's not going to be good. They pair him up with Drew Brees, and he's been the best wide receiver over the last 2 years statistically.
Here are the notable picks at number 49. Goddard of the Eagles, tight end. Mitch Morse of the lineman of the Chiefs. Jonathan Hankins, Taylor Mays, Max Unger, as well as Deshaun Jackson, Roger Craig back in 1983. Wow, had to go back on that. Marty Schottenheimer was picked in 1965. Who knew that?
Who knew there was a gleam at pick number 49?
Wow.
when they got him. So you got to do your homework. So much of this, obviously, is a crapshoot. You're going to hear a lot of experts come on over the next 48, 72 hours. But I laugh because how great were the Baltimore Ravens at drafting for so many years. And then you go look, Ozzie Newsome those last 4 years, not so great with the draft.
Which may be why he's not there anymore.
Well, yeah, and he's obviously moved on. But it's always interesting to me. John Dorsey, I thought, was terrific last year. And yet some fans wanted to harp on some of the quote-unquote misses, which we don't even know.
Everybody has misses.
Well, absolutely. Look, the Browns are going to have 8 picks in this draft, at least to start out. We'll see if they end up losing some of those or accumulating more.
You have to hit on your first 2. After that, if you hit on more than you miss, that's a win.
Yeah. Oh, and listen, when you hit on the quarterback, I can withstand some misses a little bit later on as long as you do that. And Denzel Ward, as long as he can learn how to tackle and stay healthy and stay on the field, they're going to be in good shape with that pick as well.
By the way, Marty Schottenheimer, when he was picked in 1965, they said he's not going to be a good player, but boy, he'll be a really nice coach.
And
he was. It didn't get him to the Super Bowl, but he was a very, very nice coach. So what do you think Dorsey's draft strategy is? We're going to take a look at that when we get back. What do you think he's thinking?
I think he probably has maybe 2 guys where if they somehow look like they're falling to the end of the first round, because then you don't have to expend as much draft capital. I know some fans are saying, who cares about draft capital? That's a Sashi Brown phrase. Well, it is important to see how the Browns fill their holes over the next 2 to 3 years, because all these big numbers in cap space, you're going to be saying goodbye to those. And even the number that you see going into next season, you're going to say, wait a second, they have like $60 million. Where are they going to spend those? Well, they can't spend some of that because then it means they can't give the extensions that they would otherwise give to guys like Myles Garrett. And, oh, by the way, Greg Robinson, who, if he has a good year at left tackle,
he's up.
He goes from making 0 money to what we thought he was going to make to possibly 13 or 14 million pretty quickly, not to mention Joe Schobert, depending on what you want to do. Pretty quickly, that number evaporates.
Hey, that Joe Schobert stat about missing most tackles, is that legit? I mean, you have to get to, if you're a linebacker, you're coming from an angle and you just have to get there. He must get to miss that many tackles. I'm not trying to joke here. To miss that many tackles, you're doing something right on defense.
Look, I don't think Joe Schobert is ever going to be a Hall of Famer. I think he is above average. He's what they would call a winning player. He's very good in pass coverage, which is a huge part of the game now for linebackers. We think about linebackers when we were younger, kind of ball hawking and kind of being in the way and being able to come up and run stop. That's just not really the position at all.
And the ball hawkers, once the guy was that good, they didn't throw that way anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think Schobert is a winning player. The question is, it's a big year for him because he's up for a contract at the end of the year.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk about with you, if you'd like to call, 216-575-0403. What is John Dorsey's draft strategy? We assume there's a trade involved somewhere along the line. The higher, the better, as far as he's concerned. We'll also check out the voicemail of Truth and Reason, 216-200-6650. You can call anytime, 24 hours a day. Leave a message. Don't leave a long one. It probably won't get on, but if you can shorten it up, we'll use it in various segments throughout the future show. 216-200-6650. Anthony Lima and I return in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com, where you're watching more sports and less Levine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
Let me show you how this works.
it takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
Let's take a look at this day in sports history. April 22nd, 2006. Anthony, remember this? LeBron James played in his first playoff game. The Cavaliers beat Washington 97-86. LeBron had a triple-double, scoring 32 points along with 11 rebounds and 11 assists.
I absolutely remember, as I remember so many of those firsts for LeBron James throughout those first few years and him getting into the playoffs. And so many questions. Look, we're asking questions about Russell Westbrook, who's been in the NBA now for what, 8-9 years?
Right.
We're asking questions about what kind of a playoff player he is. LeBron James settled any of those questions like moment one. There was no questioning what kind of a playoff player he was going to be almost immediately.
You know, I have listened to national talk radio, and so many people are now saying, God, it's the playoffs, and I miss LeBron. That is the link. That has been the big story for as many years as LeBron's been playing. And like him or hate him, and that's part of the factor here, people aren't watching as much.
No, ratings are absolutely down. It's not the same without LeBron James. That's what's so bizarre to see him. He's in Cabo right now, vacationing. And that just doesn't seem right. In the NBA, the best players make the playoffs every single year. I think Kobe missed the playoffs once in his prime.
But now that you say that, you got to give him even more credit for making the finals 8 times in a row.
Yes, of course. And the fact that he was able to every single year, even last year, I mean, that was a Cavs team that how quickly we forget, they quite possibly could have lost in the first round against the Pacers.
Absolutely.
They could have lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Celtics, who were without their 2 best players or 2 of their best players. But this whole thing is very different right now without LeBron James.
Before we continue on and see what Dorsey's going to do.
You know what he's going to do already?
No, I don't know what he's going to do, but I know what the people in Columbus are doing, and that's talking about the Columbus Blue Jackets. What an unbelievable thing.
They should be.
Dom Taberi, who I believe you know.
Oh, yeah. I interned for him.
Okay, he said that was a Mount Rushmore moment in Columbus sports. Now, I don't agree with that. When you have Ohio State and all the national championships and Heisman trophies and the Michigan rivalry with Ohio State and a couple of other things, this is phenomenal, but they could, if they turn around, go and get swept themselves.
Sure.
It takes it away. But this is just a phenomenal feat.
Look, that's a team that had never won a playoff series before. And my first year at Ohio State was the debut year of the Blue Jackets that first season. And I got to say, they're fighting for, we know that the Buckeyes are always going to be almost like the professional team in Columbus. And the Blue Jackets are like a distant 8th, with football being 1 through 7. And I think you're underestimating a little bit how a team can make a leap. Miracle Richfield for the Cavs, well, what was the big deal? They did what? What did they accomplish?
Yeah, if you ask anybody around the country, basketball fans, and say, what's the miracle of Richfield? Nobody knows.
But couldn't you say that led to the Cavs becoming relevant to a fan base that might have kept them at arm's length?
It's a very good
point.
point.
I think that could be happy with the Blue Jackets where, look, the hockey diehards, they're there, they're going to be there. Yeah. They don't care if they're good or bad, they're going to be there every single year. It's the casual fan that may not have cared about hockey ever before.
Let's take a look at what John Dorsey's looking at as he gets ready to do this draft coming up. These appear to be the biggest needs. Would you agree in order of the biggest needs? Offensive linemen, linebackers, defensive backs, and interior defensive line.
I'd say defensive backs right now, even though they still have a bunch of them. But people are forgetting just how good, and I'm surprised to say this because Jabril Peppers was an afterthought for about a year and a quarter, but he really came on strong at the end of the year. Plus, I don't know what the deal is with Denzel Ward. And
health-wise?
He's one concussion away from us wondering if we need to draft another stud corner. Again, very high, because that's such a huge, important position now in the NFL. So I'm going to say defensive back, even though they still have a slew of them, and they still think they have some guys who can play. Demarius Randall's another one they're going to be looking to figure out his contract situation. But I'm going to say defensive back. I think that is ever so crucial. And you sustain even one injury there, think about how many times you're in nickel right now in the NFL. That could put you in big trouble.
All right, since the opening game is 100 months away from now, it's obvious that today is the day you have to give your prediction for the Browns. 16-game season. What do you got?
You know, I think I went through, we always joke about the schedule game, and
Yeah.
we've kind of mocked it to no end, but of course we were forced to do the schedule game by our boss, who like 2 minutes after the schedule came out, Andy Roth is texting us going, did you get your predictions in? And they have to go on the website.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, great, another thing I have to be, held to some standard, not knowing any of the injuries. I think I had them at 9-7.
Wow.
And that's going to be lower than almost anybody in Cleveland. I mean, people are going to pick them to go.
9-7 with a playoff spot?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. People are going to have them going 10-6. Obviously 11-5. I even seen some 12-4s. And Ken argued today. He said, "Well, why can't they go 12-4?" And I said, "Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers are saying that. All the good teams are saying that. In fact, this was funny. ESPN had all their beat writers, like locally, Patrick Manaman is one of them.
He said 11-5.
He said 11-5, and every beat writer in the NFL had to give out their projections. There were like 3 negative projections in all of football for the local beat writers for each team.
All right, Louis Riddick of ESPN said 11-5. Nobody has guts to pick a tie in there. Gary Davenport of the Bleacher Report, 10-6. Maurice Jones-Drew, NFL Network, at 11-5. I got coerced into giving mine last week, and I said 11-5.
Well,
11-5.
I said they could be a way better team this year, and I expect them to be than last year. And yet they still could only go 9-7, because how many games do teams lose in this league by a missed field goal, by some random bad call, lack of a challenge?
Even last year, the Browns could have easily.
Of course.
Even when Hugh Jackson was here, could have won a game or two.
Yeah. So
of course, if they did, he'd still be here.
He'd still be there. So I'm between 9-7 and 10-6, and I'm going there because I have no idea if the Browns have any kind of a coaching advantage whatsoever.
No, I think that's the biggest problem.
Well, people are going to be upset about that. Look, doing what Freddie is going to be doing now is a world of a difference from what he was doing last year, where he had no pressure on him. Now, they're playing these national games, and any games the Browns lose, people are going to be looking right at Freddie Kitchens. And so how can his team handle that? How can he handle a lot of the big egos?
Yeah, I agree with that.
The Giants couldn't do it.
Which makes me surprised that John Dorsey went ahead and hired him. Hired him knowing he's also going to be the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I don't say it's a bad move that they hired him as head coach, but I don't like the rest of it.
I wanted Josh McDaniels. I wanted somebody who'd been on so many good teams, had been credited for so much of the offensive success. That, believe it or not, Patriots, I mean, they will tell you, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick both swear by it. They gave him the keys to everything over the past few years. But I'm not going to kill the hiring of Freddie Kitchens, because maybe he is that next great guy. There is no formula for where these guys come from.
All right, when we come back, we'll check the Facebook question of the day, see how you responded to that, and we'll tell you about Dingus Day that's going on right now. We're in Anthony's neighborhood. We're going to come back in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com. More sports and Les Levine continues from 6 until 7 Eastern Time.
The concrete in your garage is uneven, cracked, pitted, and just plain ugly. Transform your garage into a welcoming entryway with Nature Stone flooring. Nature Stone corrects uneven concrete so you don't have to worry about tripping or slipping. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of April and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Anthony, let's take a look at this date in Les Levine history. April 22nd, 1964. Before a game at University School, Les asked the Brush High bat boy to ask his coach where they kept the left-handed hitting bats.
Were they able to give you any information on that?
No.
No.
And then, could you imagine the kid going up to the coach?
See, I would have been given the bats to bunt. Here are the ones that you
Oh,
just
the bunting
used.
bats.
Yes,
I don't think we had bunting bats in those
square
days.
up immediately.
Yeah. The key to the batting, the key to the batter's box is always tough for the bat boy to find.
Once you open it up, it's like Pandora's box.
All right, Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant, Sokolowski's University, and right now, as you speak, in Tremont, they are celebrating Dingus Day.
All over the place, yeah.
All the
Gordon
restaurants
Square.
in the Tremont area. It's a Polish ritual, and it is terrific. I'm assuming a lot of people down there. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. All right, let's check out the Facebook question of the day. And the question is, in the past 3 years, who do you wish the Browns would have taken in the draft?
Okay, am I allowed to change my mind every year?
Yeah,
Because,
sure.
Look, that day I said the Browns, I wanted them either to trade up for Jared Goff, although I like Carson Wentz more. And now Ken likes to rib me for saying, well, you want Carson Wentz, as if we're supposed to predict injuries.
Right.
That's just something. By the way, how do I know that Baker Mayfield stays healthy?
If you don't say it, it won't happen.
Yeah, not going. Andrew Luck, where was his injury history when he went down with an injury? So, look, it's easy if you can predict the injuries. You can't. But I also wanted Michael Thomas over Corey Coleman, and the Browns like Corey Coleman instead.
Rick May says, when it happened, I thought we missed the boat entirely not drafting Carson Wentz. But after seeing him get injured and miss games the past 2 seasons, we may have gotten lucky getting Baker Mayfield. Let's hope he remains healthy going forward.
And I think that's fair. I think that's what a lot of Browns fans are saying to this point. We'll never know. Had they have taken Carson Wentz that year, I'm guessing 1-15 and 0-16 would never have happened.
Right.
Now, it's easy for Browns fans now to say, oh, no big deal, we got Baker Mayfield. I'm telling you, the anguish of 0-16 is not just something that we can say, oh, no big deal now. You hated every moment of it when it was going on. And yeah, good. It's good that we have Baker Mayfield now, but you didn't need to go 0-16 to get him.
No, well, if they win it all, you'd say, well, it was worth the price they paid, or the fans paid. 2016, top 5 picks: Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, and Jalen Ramsey. Corey Coleman taken by the Browns with the 15th pick. 2017, Myles Garrett, number 1, Mitchell Trubisky, number 2, Leonard Fournette, 4, Patrick Mahomes was 10th, Deshaun Watson, 12th, Jabril Peppers, 25th, and David Njoku picked by the Browns with the 29th pick. And then we come up to 2018, and this is what you got. Baker Mayfield, number 1, Saquon Barkley, 2, Sam Darnold, 3, Denzel Ward, 4 by the Browns, Bradley Chubb by the Broncos with the 5th pick. 7th goes to Josh Allen, and Josh Rosen was number 10. What do you think Rosen will wind up, if anywhere?
Boy, this Rosen thing is fascinating, and it's like conflicting reports. Now there was another report today that they're keeping Josh Rosen, so who knows? We'll see how this all plays out.
Well, that could be playing for a trade.
Absolutely. A lot of smoke screens, obviously, this time of year in the lead up to the draft, but there are still people I trust that think there's enough on tape to show that Rosen's going to be a good quarterback in this league. Is he going to be a Hall of Famer? Probably not, but he played behind an all-time bad offensive line and an all-time bad system. And for them to give up on him after 1 year would be very courageous.
Yeah. Well, he's the guy I wanted, but didn't get. But if he was in the draft this year, he'd be the first quarterback, wouldn't he?
I've heard that from many people, although, if Kyler Murray's going to go number 1, who knows what Arizona could be thinking with that situation.
How about the Ohio State situation where Baldwin, the backup quarterback, is moving on?
Yeah, saw that over the weekend. Look, we're in a new day in college football where no quarterback wants to be told he is a backup, whether it's a freshman or a sophomore. This was not a big-time recruit, by the way, when he had originally committed to Colorado State. And people watching over the Buckeye State cannot believe this. He just was in the spring game, and, he had his ups, he had his downs in that game. But you saw Tate Martell already leave, so that's 2 guys bolt within, 5 months. It is fascinating to me to see that these guys have zero patience and will not be waiting behind anybody if they don't think they can.
Yeah, not only that.
And he has to sit out of here, by the way.
The job description by Ryan Day is, we want a guy who doesn't want to play. What?
Right. What kind of guys do you recruit now? Justin Fields better be really good.
Right.
He better be really good, and he better stay healthy, because if not, all of a sudden what looked like a position of massive strength and depth has been depleted
I've seen
in a hurry.
Fields quite a bit on tape, and obviously you're seeing the good stuff. But the question is, why didn't he start at Georgia?
Well, yeah, look, there was a lot of situations going on there, and what also led ultimately to his decision to transfer and then be able to get the waiver to play immediately.
Right.
I mean, if he ends up doing big things at Ohio State, winning a national championship, that's going to be a huge part of the story, a huge part of the book.
That'll have to
be how he ends up
replace
there.
the Blue Jackets, what they just did.
Well, you have to ask Don Taberry about that.
And by the way, I'm not in any means demeaning Dom Taberry. He's a terrific guy and a terrific sportscaster. I just think it's a little early to dub that a Mount Rushmore in Ohio, in Columbus.
To bring that up tomorrow, because I just, it sticks with me. I wasn't alive, but when I hear about the miracle of Richfield and I look back, I'm like, all right, what was the big deal? But I need people to tell me.
I'll tell you, as a fan, number one, I never heard a louder place. Number two, every game decided by a buzzer beater or a missed shot at the end. Number three, they had, just like the Blue Jackets had not won, Cavaliers hadn't even been to the fifth year of their existence. But I'll tell you, and you can ask Campy Russell, you can ask Austin Carr, the building shook. So I'm assuming Nationwide did the other night also.
And beating that team with that many wins, one of the best regular seasons, that would be like, and I know this doesn't happen in the NBA, that would be like the Warriors losing in the first round. You know, it's just those things don't happen in other sports very often.
No, Northfield Park is your home for live and simulcast racing. Open early every day for simulcast action. That's at noon. Post time for the live races, 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. Anthony Lima and I return one more time. Dave Bacon will join us tomorrow exclusively on cleveland.com, where you're watching more sports and less Levine.
Your basement is damp, dirty, and not somewhere you want to spend time. Let Nature Stone Flooring transform your basement into a true extension of your home. Nature Stone's proprietary hydrostatic ports allow water to simply evaporate, so no mold or mildew. Plus, Nature Stone is backed by Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty.
Get Nature Stone installed in your home by the end of April and get up to half off. Schedule your free in-home estimate easily online today.
It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to OhioLottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Dave Bacon will join us tomorrow. We'll talk the NFL, we'll talk the NBA, we'll talk MLB initially. You see us 6 to 7 live Eastern time, that is, on cleveland.com. And of course, you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more sports and less Levine, with new content posted each and every day.
I think I'll be calling into the voicemail, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't mind if I drop you a line?
You know, when we play them, it comes out and we start arguing with the guy. All right, the time of the day that everybody was waiting for, that's when John Patrick writes in his phenomenal How Come Quickies. He sends in 2 a night, and the problem is so far, we need to be swayed into giving him a 10 out of 10.
I'm telling you,
you're
going to get
9.5.
exhausted. You can't keep up with this. That's like asking Christian Yelich to just continue hitting all these home runs.
Yeah, can't do it. All right, Ray says, is it my imagination, or do the Indians usually look bad when they're on TV, national TV? Something to that?
I wondered about that. Look, they're trying to choose. I mean, you would think over the years better matchups, you know, in general in those primetime games, plus the playoff games, of which they've lost 6 in a row. All those games are nationally televised. Everybody's going to be watching them, and so you're probably inclined to believe.
I want to get to BP and Pepper Pike in a minute, but I got to go to Cleveland Bill. Some baseball quickies. How come a ball player can hit a 4-bagger when there are only 3 bags on the field?
I'll have to think about that one.
Well, there's nothing to think about. He's absolutely right. How come when the ball hits the foul pole, it's fair? How come base stealers, nickel curves, the Indians' mascot, and a White Castle burger are all sliders?
Okay.
How come baseball is such a sweet game? Pitchers holding runners close, third baseman hugging the line, and fans kissing that ball goodbye, and the pitchers flirting with disaster.
That sounds like my last 2 weeks.
Okay. All right, here we go. This is one we're all waiting for. It's your job to see if we can give him a 10. All right, John Patrick. How come in my never-ending quest for the perfect 10, let's try these today. How come I got in trouble at school for acting smart? How come when spring is here, I wet my plants? Okay, it's up to you. What do we give him?
I like the first one a little bit better.
For acting smart?
Yeah, that one works for me. Second one seemed a little inappropriate.
So what do you give him, like 7.5?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
He came so close the other day. The problem is I couldn't give it to him because I was afraid we'd lose him. You know?
I don't water him down. You're going to want to allow some more time in between.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to BP and Pepper Pike. Hello, BP.
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing well. The last 3 shows I made to the 51-minute mark with my throat, but it looks like I'm going to make it.
Oh, well, that's great news, and I hope your throat, survives the week. That's really cool.
Okay. What's up?
Good stuff. Now, I wanted to talk about the NBA playoffs. I know, Anthony's a big NBA fan, and, you are too. But, I've been watching closely that Portland-Oklahoma City, series, and I was really disappointed last night the way Russell Westbrook played. I want to know what you guys thought. He scored 1 point in the entire second half. He was 5 out of 21. He's giving a lot of lip and sort of very disrespectful to the press, especially one guy. So I want to know what you thought about
I
Russell
think
Westbrook.
Something's going on with him. I don't know what it is, but there's something different.
I think he is feeling the pressure big time. He's had to hear, he gets called out more than just about anybody over the last few years, and a lot of it's warranted. But to see him just refuse to take any kind of ownership there in the second half when Damian Lillard is absolutely outplaying him, and so is C.J. McCollum. If Russell Westbrook is supposed to go down as one of the top players in the league, and don't think the rest of the NBA didn't take notice when he won that MVP for getting the triple-doubles on a 44-win basketball team. He's getting his comeuppance right now, and I just think the pressure is getting to him so much so he's even been disrespectful to one of their beat writers, Barry Trammell, which is like one of the nicest guys ever.
I'm just wondering if the fact that he stayed there makes you think he doesn't, unlike Kyrie, who knows what Kyrie's talking about, but do you think he really is shying away from the big spotlight?
It's weird because he's had big moments in the postseason before. Who could forget that team that almost knocked off the 72-win Warriors before, 73-win Warriors before the Cavs were able to do it. One series later, they had him on the ropes, and they blew a lead in that
BP,
series.
who wins in the West?
I was just going to get to that. I was going to ask, I predicted before the playoffs started, I had Boston coming out of the East, Golden State out of the West, so I have, obviously, Golden State winning the NBA championship. I want to know what you guys, what's your prediction for the NBA final?
Thanks, BP. My matchup was the exact same in the finals. I wasn't buying what everybody was telling me about the collapsing Boston Celtics, but I think the Eastern Conference playoffs are going to be fun. And in the end, I have the Warriors winning it all. I still think, I know people are talking about their demise, I still think they can summon powers that no other team in the NBA can summon.
I've got the Warriors over the Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow.
Why? I don't know. If I had a do-over like we did before, I would take Boston, but I went with Philly. We got to go with it. Great job by Anthony Lima, 92.3 The Fan, 6 until 10, along with Ken Carmen. We'll see you tomorrow night. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.